because the soul is conscious, and the soul will be conscious of various things. And in the conditioned state, we are conscious of matter. So the goal of all practices of dharma is to elevate our perception, our consciousness beyond the real of matter. So now in this verse is explained what lies beyond matter, what is there. Vadanti tat tattvavidas. Tattvavidaha are the learned one, those who know the tattva. Tattva means the truth, actually, the essence. So vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yadjnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sapyate. Learned transcendentalists know the absolute truth or the tattva, who know the absolute truth, call this non-dual substance Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. So here, the tattva is defined as jnanam advayam, means it is non-dual knowledge or non-dual perception. Knowledge means that which we perceive, that which we know. So in this world, everything is duality. We perceive heat and cold. We perceive good and bad. We perceive men and women. We perceive yesterday and tomorrow. So many dual perceptions are there. And the main duality is that the seer or the knower, which is us, the knower is different from the known. That is the main perception in this world. The knower is different from the known. What does that mean? It means the knower is the spirit, is the soul. Aham Brahmasmi. I am the soul. This is lesson 1 when we came to Krishna consciousness. We heard, I am not this body. And so there is a difference between me and the body. In fact, the body is my body. it's an expansion of energy. And so that this duality between the knower and the known, that is what changes when we go into transcendental perception and we perceive the truth. Perceiving the truth means advaya jnanam, meaning that there is no more difference between the seer and the seen. The seer belongs to the internal potency of the Lord. The seer is spiritual, and the seen is also spiritual. So therefore, it is a completely different type of perception in which the seer and the seen are one. At the same time, they can perceive each other. So this is the magic or the wonder. This is the wonder of the internal potency. This is the wonder of the oneness and difference between the jiva and the Lord. We know that the jiva is an expansion of the Lord, is a small, tiny, infinitesimal part of the Lord. So because we are a part of him, we cannot say that we are different from him. We are him. And sometimes it is said that the super self or the supreme Lord is the, is actually the root of our existence. We are never separate from him. Always the example is given of the rays of the sun, which are shining due to their connection with the Lord, and can never be separated from the sun. So similarly, the jiva and the Lord are one. He is the Lord, he is the whole, we are the part. We are the same. But we exist in such a way that there is awareness in the part and there is awareness in the whole. So the part and the whole can perceive each other. They can perceive each other, but not exactly as a different object. So this is very extraordinary, and we will only know what this means when we get there. Mm. This wonderful feeling of having found our real, better half. And another who is who is not me, but is me at the same time. Very amazing. So this is the Jnanam Advayam. And this Jnanam Advayam is perceived in three different ways. That is revealed in the scriptures. And the Bhagavatam here makes this very clear. Brahma, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. These three are the same object. They are the complete whole. They are the complete whole, but they are seen from different angles of perception. And just like we use our material eyes to perceive our material body, if we want to perceive the absolute truth, we have to put on the glasses of jnana, yoga, and bhakti. Gyan gives us a vision. Yoga gives us a vision. And bhakti also gives us a vision. But they don't give us the same vision. So uh, Srila Prabhupada explains this, that uh, the ultimate truth is Bhagavan. That's the most complete aspect of the Lord. Sat, Chit, Ananda, Vigraha. On the transcendental plane, everything is eternal. That's an aspect of non-duality, because in this world, everything is temporary. So that is dual, because today it exists and tomorrow it doesn't exist. The material world is conceived as a dream. Just like when we sleep at night, we dream of something and it's so nice, and then the alarm rings and it's all finished. So it's like some relationships in this world sometimes. People enter some relationship and it's so nice and it looks like it's the essence of life. And then when they cut, either death comes or disagreement comes, something comes, and the relationship is over. And everything that pertained to that relationship, all the activities, all the feelings, all everything, um, sometimes even wealth or anything, it's all over, as if it had been. And at that time, you can understand the meaning of dream. Was it true? Was it untrue? Did it ever exist? I can remember it. I have some perception of it, but it's gone. So eternity. Eternity means that it has always been there. It is there now, and it will be there after. There is no end. In fact, we hear of something called, something that we cannot understand. It's called eternal present. Nitya Vartman, eternal present. Uh, and the idea that things are ever fresh, eternal also means ever fresh. There's no degradation, there is no change in the Advaya Gyan. Otherwise, in this world, we perceive something, oh, it's beautiful, it's a nice flower. You cut it, you put it in a vase, and within an hour, it is faded. It has changed. So the Advaya Gyan is a perception which gives us access to a substance which never, ever, ever changes, which is ever fresh. At the same time, it is active. It is not static. And then Sat Chit, Chit means knowledge. There is knowledge means it is refers to the consciousness. It's a conscious substance. Abhigya. We have heard this in the first verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. Abhigya, that the absolute is conscious. This is where our consciousness comes from. We have a fragment of consciousness which comes from the total consciousness. consciousness is the substratum of everything. So very powerful. It's life. This consciousness is symptomized by awareness, and so this is the idea of chit. And this awareness, the chit potency, reveals form, form in the absolute, form on the non-dual platform. Interesting. A spiritual form that is revealed in the chit through spiritual knowledge. We can see the transcendental form of the Lord, a form which is eternally the same and never deteriorates, and which has characteristics which are somewhat different from the material forms, in the sense that, for example, what is said of the transcendental form is that all the senses that we know in this world, they come from there. So they are present in the transcendental form, be that of the Lord or that of the Jiva. But whereas in this material body, the senses are very specific. You can only speak with the mouth, you can only smell with the nose, you can only hear with the ear. You can only touch with the skin or with the hands, but the transcendental form of the Lord, it is said that all the senses can perform the actions of the other senses. In other words, you don't really see with the eyes. It's just that the transcendental form sees, the transcendental form tastes, the transcendental form smells. You don't have to bring the flower close to the nose to smell it. Because the sense of smell can be in the hand, it can be in the foot, it can be in the ear. Very interesting. And also there is no limit. Like, we can only see up to the point of the wall. When the wall comes, we can't see beyond the wall. But we know that the Lord sees everything all over existence, all over the creations. He is in his own abode and he sees what we are doing. He is in his own abode and he hears what we are saying. So there is no limitation to the potency of the senses. They can reach everywhere at will. So these are some characteristics of the transcendental form, and particularly the form of the Lord, which are very amazing and super powerful. Uh, Another thing about transcendental form is this can also multiply itself, and there can be many, many forms of the same person. and so the chit potency reveals the form. And then there is the ananda, satchid ananda. Ananda means bliss. So this is the characteristics of the eternal substance, and that it is non-dual, which involves that it doesn't include suffering. Here we have happiness and suffering, which are said to be the two sides of a coin. If you get happiness, you will get suffering. If you get suffering, you may get happiness. The two go together. You eat one gulab jamu, happiness. You eat 10 of them, distress. So ananda, and that also, it's anandam buddhivardhanam. There is bliss, no perception of suffering, and this bliss arises from interactions. It is innate to the spiritual nature, and it is increased by interactions. Radha and Krishna eternally separated themselves in order to interact. And by their interaction, the Ananda is increased, is eternally increasing. And similarly, when the Jiva interacts with the Lord, then the Ananda increases. And this Ananda is the intrinsic nature of the soul and of the Lord, and it increases by interaction. What are interaction? Interactions are relationships, transcendental relationships. The relationships we have in this world are reflections of the original relationships that the Lord has with all his parts and parcels, which belong to different categories. There are his personal expansions, his internal potencies, expansions, and then there is his jiva expansions. So this Lord is performed, and it is understood that the complete feature of the Lord includes Sat, Chit, and Ananda, and this is Bhagavan. Bhaga means opulence, and Van means full of opulence. The Lord possesses energies. He is the energetic, and he possesses energies, and he expands energetically, and he also expands himself. So the Paramatma is a transcendental expansion of the Lord. The Lord is like a tree that has a trunk and two big branches. The trunk, the root and the trunk is Bhagavan, and the two branches are Paramatma and the Brahman. Paramatma also has form, Bhagavan also has form. The difference between the two is one is complete, the other one is an expansion. One is manifest in the spiritual world, in the Vaikunthas, and the other is manifest in the material world, which is his energy. The material energy emanates from the Paramatma. There are three forms of the Paramatma, as we know, the three Purush avatars, Karanodakasha, Vishnu, from whom emanates the entire material energy. And Garbhodakasha, Vishnu, who gives life to each and every universe. And the Paramatma, who is Kshirodakasha Vishnu, who enters each and every atom and accompanies the jiva in this world, giving him, let me say, guidance, is the witness of all our activities and the guide of our activities. So the Lord is, so those who see the truth, who go beyond the mind and the senses, who come under the control and influence of the internal potency. This is what they see. They see the truth to be either Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. And so what is the method for this? That is verse number 12. We already heard Savai Pumsam Paro Dharmo Yato Bhaktiradokchaje Yatma Supasirati, that we will get tremendous satisfaction when we reach that stage of actually seeing the truth. And how do we see the truth? This is explained in verse 12. That Shraddadhana Munayo. Munayaha means again the sages. And there are different kinds of sages. Again, as we said, there are three paths to see the truth: the Gyan, the Yoga, mystic Yoga, and the Bhakti. So the Munaya, whether they be Gyanis, Yogis, or Bhaktas, they see the truth in different ways. So here, how do they see? That Shraddadhana Mudayo. Shraddadhana means seriously inquisitive. Those are very serious. Jnana Vairagya Yuktaha, Yuktaya, being equipped by knowledge and renunciation or detachment. Pashyantyatmani chatmanam. They see Atmani within themselves. Where is that absolute truth? Where is? It is within. That's why when we chant and we close the eyes, we don't use any of our active senses, but because the truth is within. So we are searching within. We have to search within. We have to go within. This is where the Lord is, Atmani, within one's own self, is Atmanam, the soul or the truth. This non-dual jnana is inside. And bhaktya, through jnana vairagya yuktaya bhaktya. The absolute truth ultimately is only seen by bhakti, which is reinforced or together connected with Gyan and Viragya. We already heard before. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayatyashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayadahaitukam. That from the practice of bhakti, Gyan is generated and Vairagya is generated. So we are practicing bhakti, and as we practice, these two other aspects are developed. And along with all this, uh, which is cultivated shrutagrihitaya, as per the direction of the Shastra, as per from what they have heard from the Shastra in Guru Parampara. According to that, we practice bhakti. So this verse can also mean that, and it also means that it also involves here seeing Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, meaning that those who go through Gyan, they will see the Brahman. Those who emphasize Vairagya, they will see the Paramatma. And those who are strictly dedicated to Bhaktya, they will see the Supreme Lord. And it also means that neither the Jnanis nor the yogis can actually see the truth of Brahman and Paramatma without Bhaktya. It is Jnana Vairagya Yuktaya Bhaktya. Actually, that truth is only seen by Bhakti. And even the Jnanis, in order to actually get realization of the Brahman, they must have a tinge of worship, of bhakti, of devotion. So this is the truth here and the means of realization of the truth. Um, and of course, the realization includes that we realize our own self, the jiva. We realize the jiva, and we realize Prabhupada. It's just like when the sun rises in the morning, the sun spreads light everywhere. And with the help of that light, we can see the sun and we can see ourselves. So that realization of the Lord allows us to see the Lord and to also see our own self. Okay, so this is some, it's not easy to understand, is it? It's not easy to understand. For us, it's words, Brahman. Brahman is actually the realization of oneness between the jiva and the Lord. In Brahman, there is Advaya in the sense that the jiva and the Lord, the difference between them, the transcendental difference, is not perceived. When one perceives the Brahman, one feels really this truth, is Aham Brahmasmi. As we know, those who get this Brahman realization, they think they have become the Brahman. They are the Brahman. So, but by the process of yoga, one advances a step further and begins seeing, first of all, in the Brahman, there is no differentiation and there is no form. There is no form. But at the level of realization of Paramatma, the Brahman is realized through the Sat potency of the Lord. And the Paramatma is realized through the Sat plus Chit. So when this Chit potency descends upon the Jiva, it is mercy, descending process. It descends upon the Jiva. Then the Jiva can actually perceive a form. And there, but usually that form is perceived as the source of all energies. And there is a tendency to want to uh, continuously draw from that source. That's the relationship. The Paramatma is seen as the maintainer. And there's a tendency for the yogi to draw from that eternal source. But for those who understand that the Paramatma and me are two, and begins to interact and emphasizes the bhakti, then there is a further revelation. What is the revelation? The revelation is the source of Paramatma. The source of Paramatma is Bhagavan. And in the relationship with Bhagavan, which is bhakti, there is a complete change that instead of drawing from the Paramatma, the Jiva begins to give to the Paramatma, to actually give its energy to the Lord. And this builds the basis for the most beautiful connection and the most beautiful exchange and the topmost fulfillment of the Jiva. When the Jiva actually develops a relationship with the Lord and begins, according to that relationship, interacting with the Lord in a personal way as a person uh, through innumerable activities on the transcendental platform. Hare Krishna. So this is our meditation for this morning. Vadanti tat pravidas tattam yad jnanamadvayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdate. Tat sraddadhana munayo jnana vairagya yuktaya asyanchatmani chatmanam bhaktya shrittagrihitaya. So we must continue to hear. This is our process. The bhakti which is mentioned here, Vishwanath Thakur explains, it is the bhakti headed by Shravanam, Kirtana. Shravanam, Kirtana. We must hear from the Shruti, meaning from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And by this hearing, the absolute truth gradually will reveal itself. This is our great hope, and this is our goal. This is our life. Hare Krishna. So thank you very much for your attention this morning.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Thank you so much.
Krishna.
Wishing you a wonderful day.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
All the best to you. I will see you tomorrow. Hare Krishna.
Can we get the recording of these classes so that we can hear? It is a very difficult topic. You have explained very nicely, but if we could listen again to them, maybe we understand more. So.
Yes, the recordings are there. I don't know, they haven't been uploaded yet. They are uploaded. You go to your folder. Acha. This is Prema Manjari who's speaking here, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you are not on the groups. So maybe you can just send us a message so we remember. Akhilesh says it has been uploaded only up to 125 or 125. it will be uploaded. It keeps being uploaded, and Prima Manjari, you can make a special request on WhatsApp or something so that we remember to send you the link, okay? Because you are not
Okay,
on
okay.
these groups. Prima Manjari is a correspondence student, so she's not on those groups. Okay. Or somebody says it's on the VIC YouTube as well. Oh, okay. All right. Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai. Vancha kalpatarusha, Patitanam pavanebhyo, Vaishnavabhyo namo namo.